Hey everyone, this is Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and these are my comics. Today is June 20th, 2018, and it's another comic book day full of new releases. What did I get? Well, not much, but got myself a nice juicy double burger. You're probably wondering, why the hell's that in the picture? And let me tell you why. Because back in the 90s, when comics were freaking amazing, I was working at In-N-Out Burger. And In-N-Out Burger is amazing. And so I thought, man, I'm back living in San Diego after, 17-year absence, missing comics, missing In-N-Out Burger. What a great way to unite my love for one thing with a love for something else. And, yeah, so I think I'm going to start a tradition every Wednesday, getting my pull, grab myself a double to go along with it, and remember that some things stay great because they don't mess with the formula. Some things you mess with the formula and they turn to garbage. What not to do? First thing I'm going to do is eat this burger before it gets any less warm, and then I'm going to go over what my pull list is. Damn, that was a good burger. Oh, whew. Man, I don't know how it is. In-N-Out Burger could make a double for less than $4. That's less than burgers you get at Jack in the Box, Carl's Jr. Hell, I think quarter pounders at McDonald's cost more than $4. And this thing blows. I mean, come on, it's not even a contest. This is, man, it reminds me of like Marvel can sell their cheap trash for $3.99. DC's making better comics, better artists, better writers, better quality materials on the books, $2.99. Ah, man. I hope these comics I got live up to the quality of that burger. It's about the same price. Let's see what we got here. Apologize ahead of time. It's a slow week. Didn't get much. Let's see what we got. Alright. Starting off, Flash. I pick this thing up all the time. It's not actually for me. It's for my friend's daughter, my good friend, and she was interested in comics, and she told me Flash was her favorite character. She's 9 years old, and I am all about evangelizing the hobby, and I was like, hey, you know what? Here, let me pick you up a Flash issue, and she was all overjoyed, so it's just kind of become a tradition at this point. I pick her up a new Flash issue each time, and hopefully she'll let me read them, because I think I would really like... I hear good things about the Flash. And the more I'm getting into DC and learning about the world, the more I'm realizing that Flash is more interesting than I originally gave him credit for. I thought he was just a generic speedster, and speedsters never interested me. But there's more to the whole Flash thing, and he's kind of a central point nowadays with the DC universe, with Flashpoint and everything, and then you got this whole mix with the multiple Flashes, which normally I'd hate. I'll go into that sometime about my biggest pet peeve. One of my pet peeves in comics is legacy characters, and just being like, oh look, here's Flash Jr., here's Flash Jr., Flash the Fourth, just baby Flash, Flash Dog, whatever. I'm making stuff up now, but you know what I mean. These characters, I just come up with new characters. You don't have to have, 5 Flashes, 5 different Batmans, 5 different Supermans. It's like, especially in DC, I don't understand what DC is doing. You got Justice League, which you got your lineup, right? Then you've got Titans, which is sort of like, it's the grown-up version of the Teen Titans. But the Teen Titans has essentially equivalent of each of the Justice League characters. So instead of Batman, you got Nightwing, etc. And then, now that there's Titans, we have to replace the Titans with the Teen Titans. So now there's the Teen Titans, and of course, they have their own Batman characters, Robin's in Teen Titans. And it's like, if you have all these different teams, why do you have the same lineup of characters? It's like, New Mutants when Marvel did New Mutants, they didn't say, well, we have to have a guy who's like Colossus, and a guy who's like Wolverine, and a guy who's like, Cyclops. They made completely new imaginary heroes and stuff. And anyways, I digress completely. Normally I hate that, but the way Flash seems, the writers are trying to be creative and have this whole Flash verse, if you will, and I guess this is about the Flash War, seems very interesting. It's winning me over in a sense, and that's what I always say, stories trump everything. Even if I don't like your idea, if I think your idea is dumb, you do it in a good way. If you have a great story, you're gonna win me over. So I do want to check out Flash at some point. I just have to convince her to let me read the books. So, anyways, that's done. Next book, New Challengers issue 2. I did a review on Challengers number 1. Check it out. I'm curious to see where this book goes. I'll do a review of this one very soon, because the first book was really not enough to go by. And Justice League. This is a series I told myself I was not going to get. Never was a Justice League fan. You have to understand, when I say that I'm not a fan, it's prejudice. I don't say that I wasn't a fan because I read Justice League for a long time and I judged it fairly. I didn't. I was a prejudicial non-fan. I judged everything by its cover. I looked at what I saw on the surface of DC and I made quick judgments. And I know that's wrong. I'm not advocating that, but I'm just telling you the truth of where my mental state was. And Justice League just seemed silly to me, which is weird because when I was a really, really young kid, one of my first favorite loves, and probably the thing that actually eventually catapulted me into comics later in my older childhood, was Super Friends. I still have a fondness for Super Friends. But I like Zack Snyder. I like what DC's doing. I like that I'm falling in love with DC characters. I never expected this would be the case. And he got this brand new Justice League, and that last alternate cover with the Jim Lee Batman just grabbed me on the shelf. I was like, oh man, it's the number 1 issue, which I normally poo-poo, and I'm really kind of annoyed that they rebooted this whole Justice League. It's like, stop rebooting, DC. Please stop rebooting. But I saw that issue. I was like, I should probably give this a chance. Just at least read the first arc. Get a feel for what Justice League really is, not just my prejudice. And then I found out, and I'm pretty sure, don't hold me on gospel on this, but I had heard that the first sets of alternate covers is going to be featuring one of the Justice League characters done by Jim Lee. And I think that's dope. So I'm going to be able to get how many characters are in Justice League. I can't even count them anymore. But even if it's just the central core original Justice League characters, one single Jim Lee picture, that's worth it to me just to collect those issues alone. And then I'll either continue if it catches me or drop it for something that interests me more. But that's Justice League. I haven't read the first issue yet, so I can't comment on it. Batman 49. Yeah. I'm not excited for this wedding at all. I am being cautiously optimistic. Well, not even optimistic. I'm being cautiously hopeful. Crossing my fingers that this is going to be worthwhile. I did not like Superman and the whole Superman, Clark Kent, Jonathan Kent storyline, being a happy family. Look, I understand, characters, the romance issue is a strong storytelling, part of the stories. That's great. I'm not against characters having romances. I'm not really even against characters getting married so much as it interferes with what the character is. Can Batman, because Batman's the real character, if you know anything about Batman, Bruce Wayne is the alternate identity. So one of the interesting things I always found that I really liked about Batman is most superheroes, you know, their secret identity is who they really are, but Batman is the real identity and Bruce Wayne is the mask. And I've always thought that was kind of a neat twist. But can he still function and be the Batman, as we all know and love, when he's married to a villain, longtime criminal? Look, I get the romance part. You know, the body is attracted to who the body's attracted to. And I think what made the Catwoman-Batman relationship so interesting was the sort of forbidden love aspect. That's such a great storytelling hook. I'm not so convinced the married life of Batman now that he is, you know, it's just, I don't know. I kind of wish DC had a alternate universe, and they got so many universes that they could tell this story in. We could explore it, but it wouldn't be part of the main continuity. I just think Batman works better as Batman, and have this story always sort of on the cusp of like almost reaching it, but never quite doing so. And you can imagine what it would be like, but don't actually go there. Once you go there, can you come back? I don't know. We'll see. This is a really fantastic variant cover, though. And then finally, last issue, Man of Steel, number 4. I did a review on Man of Steel 1 of 3. I hope you took time to watch. I know it's pretty long, but it is for 3 issues, and so it's about 10 minutes per issue. And I also talked about Brian Michael Bendis and what my thoughts were. I'm going to read this book first of all the ones I got, because he's got me hooked on those first 3 issues, and I like where the story is going. I like how he's telling the story. And I'm hoping it doesn't let me down. Like, I'm hoping it's not one of those things like, it's all great until the end and it just collapses. And but so far what he's doing, it's like a clinic on comics as far as writing. And there's so many haters for Bendis out there. And not that I really want to be his champion, but I feel like he's unfairly judged. And I want to, I've been kind of an advocate to say, hey, you know what? Pull back a little bit, just because what you're seeing, you know, as evidence of his work, I don't think is 100% his work, you know. And you don't have to love him. I may not love him. I certainly didn't buy anything over at Marvel, but I've known that he was a great talent, and there's a reason why DC pulled over. I've tried to tell people, hey, this is more likely to be the case, and so far he's proving me right, I guess. And I guess part of my own little ego is to be like, yay, see, I told you so. Everyone likes to do that. I mean, that's not really what I want to do, but I do want to be right about him. I don't want him to shit the bed and be like, okay, all you guys are right. He's a total hack. I don't think it's the case. He's proving it's not the case. And he's showing his veteran skills as a writer in comics that help me, as a person who's a fan of comics, illustrate to others when I talk about how to do comics right. You know, it makes it easier for me to sit there and explain to anyone why Marvel is doing so poorly when I can point to quality work from someone who recently worked at Marvel for 20-some years and say, this is how you do comics right, and this is what Marvel's not doing, and why I'm not buying it. And when I can contrast it in that way, I think it's easier for people to get it and see and go, oh, now I see, that argument makes more sense to me. Because right now I just think people just don't listen, and they read what Marvel's putting out, and they're used to the status quo. And I think over the years, as the quality's drained, gradually they don't see it. They need that contrast just to be so stark and say, oh my goodness, I didn't realize, you know. So anyways, that's my pull for June 20th. I know it was small. Hopefully there's some things worth talking about. Let me know if there's any of these comics that you're interested in, or if there's any of these comics that you don't like for some reason. I'd like to hear why. Or if there's any comics that you see from what I'm buying that maybe I need to check out. I'd like to hear. So until then, next time, I'm Ash, and thanks for watching. Bye.